Okay, one more time. Josie's bad boy dovetail find made me bust out the case one more time, the early archaic case. Wanted to just kind of do you a little slight cleanup video and then also discuss what is grades and stages necessarily of a point. And we've got 5 dovetail examples here, and then one hardened for a flawless would be stage 1 G10, except it would have been G10 if it hadn't been for that little tip nick, but we'll get to that. And yeah, I just wanted to also show what was the little McCorkle he found in the video. And I busted out the other one that I have, and I've only ever found 2 of these puppies. They're pretty rare. And again, as far as grades and stages go, it's more so about a stages video is what I really wanted it to do. But as far as stages go, you can see this puppy, it's got one little serration bump left on it. That tip has been completely reworked. And yeah, it's probably been resharpened at least, I'd say, at least 5 or 6 times. Or suffered one big major damage to it, and they still salvaged a point instead of wasted. Goes to show you how precious the material was and how maybe far away from the location of it they were, if they were willing to still salvage it and use it. And use more. Sorry, that wind scares me. I'm gonna go ahead and just lower this case door just in case. God forbid that thing comes slamming down, but either way. And yes, you can see this one here, it's maybe been resharpened 2 or 3 times at least, maybe even 4. All hinged up. There's a few serration bumps still left on this side. You got one good one left over here, one little barb here that's almost gone. The tip's probably ancient damage. And again, the McCorkle marks the very end of the early archaic, so it goes to show you how much resharpening was going on. I know they say on very hard paleo points they didn't resharpen near as much. So you get to 8,500 years from 13,000 years ago, and they were obviously more concerned about the material, or traveling further from its source and seeking game and stuff. But either way, here's 5 dovetails, like I said, in all different stages and obviously all different grades because we got little nicks on them and stuff like that. But this one here is obviously hardened. You can tell by the notching. You can see the dovetail notch here. The dovetail notch, yes, not all of them are at the same angle, but they all form what is the C notch, and you can see a great example of the C notch right there. Pretty much just makes a C. The harden has the V notch. You can see that hard V in there and the expanding stem. The dovetail has the tight C notch. The C notch on all of them. This one is the most whittled down and used down version, but again, here we'll look at this hardened, because again, somebody recently asked me on a video how many G10s I had, and as many points as I have, gosh, you wish they were all G10s, but of course that they, this one was one of the closest ones and one of the nicest examples you'll ever see of a stage 1 sharpening, meaning it had very little retouch or any kind of sharpening whatsoever on. It's pretty much a collector's wet dream. And as far as grading goes, it'd probably be a G8 or a G9 just because of that little tip, but that's okay, that's all right. And I just kind of really wanted to show Josie's here is big, 4 3/4. That one's 5 inches. This one's 4 3/4. And I wanted to kind of show off some of that flaking, show some of what would be this base damage here, which I've already told Josie that is 100% original. You can see the patina is the same as everything around it. And what they were doing is, you can see that little stack right here. He tried right here, right at that point right there, and he drove that flake up there trying to knock it off, and it hinged. He tried again from this side right there, and it hinged. It just wouldn't carry and wouldn't travel, wouldn't get underneath the stack. So he left it either way, but that base damage is not damage, that's just him working at the piece. And this piece is so beautiful. You have a lot of examples of big overshot flaking on it where the flakes literally travel all the way across the piece. Let me see if I can find that really good one. But yeah, either way, big percussion overshot flaking with fine pressure flaking with a bone antler to do, all that nice fine edge work. But as far as stages go, you can see this one's got a little bit of a twist. She's a beast as is, but it's probably almost about an inch longer, I would bet, and been resharpened, I'd say 2 or 3 times. Just a stunning little example. And again, you can also see Where is that little tip nick? Right up there. You see all that black, you know, organic material, which is more modern, but the sheen, the patina, the coloration, everything on that little tip nick right there is ancient. Happened a very, very long time ago, and for this being a knife, a working tool, it is definitely most definitely ancient. Shoulder's fine right there to work like that. And again, that base right there, he was really irritated with that stack. This guy's obviously a master napper, and he did not want that stack left on there, so he tried one last time driving that. And again, you can see the patina and the sheen. The sheen matches all these other deep flake scars, these deep overshot flakes. She's a beaut. Just wanted to again discuss the staging / grading. Yes, it's got a little bit of ancient base damage and an ancient tip nick. So what, we go to a G8 on this puppy? Oh well. And probably a stage, not a stage 1 resharpening, but probably like a stage 3 or 4, as far as it's been resharpened 3 or 4 times. And then you know, here's another dovetail from a generally the same area as this one, not the same site. This one was found on a new site, but this is from a dovetail site, what kicked the whole thing off. And here we'll show you as far as twist goes. Again, it's got a slight twist to it, which means the point was a little bit longer, maybe about an inch. And they also say dovetails don't have any kind of heat treatment on it, which is a lie. You can see how red that tip is. And then we've got another example here I'm going to show you that it also has a red tip from where they were heat treating it, especially for the resharpening. You can see some of that red even up into here. But yeah, got the C-notch, ground slicker than heck. And still a very nice example of one right here, even though it's just not the monster those two are. She was back in her prime, and all of these, I'm pretty sure, these really orange ones right here, and you know, tan, bluish, green ones are Fort Payne. This one right here, I believe, is Buffalo River. This one is kind of a mystery material to me. It's that light blue. That light blue you see on the Cumbia a lot. And yeah, this one's definitely a Fort Payne as well. We'll get to her. This one right here, my brother's got a couple dovetail sites as well, and you can see the super lean, super twist on that thing. He's completely not exhausted the point, but again, you see all that fine pressure flaking with the bone antler, with what is the original big overshot flaking across the whole piece from the original, you know, face of the piece. And again, that beveling technique is so they didn't have to take it off the bone antler to resharpen it. They just kept it hafted, used pressure flaking, and drove that new edge on there, ultimately creating that sharp edge and that twist. But this one right here, it would have been much bigger. She would have come way on out. She would have, I mean, guaranteed been 2 or 3 inches bigger for the size of it and the steepness of the bevel and the heat treatment on that tip. That's pretty neat. But again, with a good classic C-notch right there. And again, the Harden has the V. And yeah, just moving on down the line. This puppy, again, you can see the super hard bevel on it. You know, the blade edge is literally on the top and literally on the very bottom down there. So again, this piece would have been much bigger. It would have been 4.5 inches in its heyday. Twice this size. As far as the resharpenings on it, I would say probably at least 4 or 5, at least. So like a stage 5 or stage 6 dovetail. And the base damage I believe to be ancient, but the tip, it's got a little bit of damage. But it kind of looked like to me it was rolled back a little bit, but this was found on a construction site, so very easily could have been hurt by that dozer, excuse me. And much more of a classic dovetail base as well. You hear me talk about the clip wing. See how that doesn't have a slanted side? It's definitely was at one point all completely rounded. In this puppy, my little brother calls it damn run, and you know, he couldn't be more wrong. This is the slickest little base on this sucker. And the only example I found removed, technically there's 3 active dovetail sites on here for me right now. My brother's got one on here as well. But this one, he's trying to call it damron, and there is no way. Again, you can see the blade edge on the very top, blade edge on the very bottom. Yeah, that's about a freeze pop, almost drill form of a dovetail that has just been exhausted down into absolutely almost next to nothing. It's no damn run, not with those serrations, not with the teeth on her. And again, you could just see the super twisted blade. And again, probably shows you how far away from their, you know, material location was, or maybe their main campsite was, for them to be able to access either more material or, you know, one of their preforms or Cobb's blades or something like that. So when they're traveling and hunting, obviously they're resharpening and they're using, you know, what is these points up. And I'm sure they would have done it regardless, but because you weren't going to waste material. But again, when you start seeing them a lot more exhausted, you know you're probably further away from where these bad boys are coming. And that's just a theory of mine, but either way, wanted to show you, get you one last look at them. Josie whooped me again. Get y'all one last look at all those dovetails. I'm gonna start doing more videos like this. We'll call them rock talk videos, baby. Or we'll just talk rock. I've got from triangular capinas to Baker's Creeks to many different, you know, many different point types. I'm gonna do a Greenbrier video here soon too, because we found a smoker. And it's coming up here soon, but I'm gonna do a Greenbrier kind of transitional, all the different bases, you know, mix it in with a little bit of stages and grades, and we'll go from there. But yep, one last time, thank y'all for watching, and yeah, this is Tenny Benny from Tennessee. Y'all take it easy. See ya.